on their behalf. We have pledged money for district seminars, held in district seminars, and in the process of planning another. Also, through that association, we are honored to have Nita Love as our servant speaker for Mitt Romney. This association is in an effort to further our mutual goal of electing a Republican president. At this time, it gives me great pleasure to introduce Scott Jennings, the Ohio State Director of the Romney campaign. Scott's home is in Kentucky. If you've ever been on a conference call for the Romney campaign, you have heard Scott, and now you will see him and hear him in person.
Thank you all very much for having us over today and for letting us bring in probably our best surrogate in the nation. Did anybody so you know you live in a state that's important when they send in the best. So we got the best this morning. We'll hear from her in a minute. I'm really proud to be here. I'm proud to be in Ohio. As Gene said, I'm not from Ohio, I'm from Kentucky, but I did drive all the way from Dawson Springs, Kentucky for one reason and one reason only: to make Barack Obama a one-term president. So that's what we're doing. I wanted to give you all a campaign update and let you know that things are going very well. As has been mentioned, the debate on Wednesday night really reframed and reset the election here. We're just over 30 days to go, and the state of Ohio is poised to deliver 18 electoral votes to Romney Ryan because of our ground game. We've been emphasizing the ground game. If you all have been on my email blast, if you've been on our campaign conference calls, if you've been approached by one of our staffers, if you've been part of anything we've been doing so far, you know you've been asked to knock on doors or go to one of our victory centers and make telephone calls. And I'm happy to report that the effort is going very, very well. This week in the state of Ohio, we knocked on our 1 millionth door since May 19th. And we made our 3 millionth phone call. So we're 4 million voter contacts into this program. Today, we're running our 5th Operation Buckeye Blitz. And we've done this 4 times before. A month ago was the last one. And on Saturday, a month ago, we knocked on in one day 104,000 doors. And as I see the information flowing in this morning and what we had recruited as of last night, we will knock on well over 150,000 doors today alone. We'll probably bank 250,000 door knocks in this last 7-day period. And so talking to people on their front porch is still, in our opinion, the best place in American politics to have a meaningful interaction. We have made a lot of phone calls, and we believe in phones, and we put a lot of stock into phones. But if you're a voter in the state of Ohio and you own a phone and a pair of scissors, I imagine sometime in the month of October you're going to see it in court. Everybody's making phone calls. Everybody's making phone calls. But people still answer their doors, and they will have a conversation with their neighbor about the future of our country and about what we have to do in November to get our country back on track. And that's the conversation that Mitt Romney started at the debate on Wednesday night, and that's the conversation that we will finish on every door in this state for the rest of this month. By November, Ohio will be red. 18 electoral votes will go to Romney Ryan, and this nation will be This country is on a terrible course. We have 23 million people who cannot find jobs. We have an unemployment rate that has fluctuated and hovered around 8%. It went down yesterday. But we live in a country where the unemployment rate only goes down because people stop looking for work. We live in a country where the unemployment rate only goes down because people can't find a job for so long that they give up. They just stop. And they say to themselves, America is not a place where I'm employed. And that's just not acceptable to Mitt Romney. And it's not acceptable to Paul Ryan, and it shouldn't be acceptable to anyone in the state of Ohio. We've had some success in the state of Ohio. You all have a great governor, John Kasich, who's done a very good job. We have a great state legislature, and together they have balanced the budget, refilled the rainy day coffers. They've got government off the backs of small businesses. But Kasich says it best. He says, imagine what we could accomplish in this state if we didn't have the headwinds blowing out of Washington, And you can look around this country and find Republican governors in Ohio and Indiana and Tennessee and all the other places where they've had some success. But they'll all tell you to a person, if only the federal government would do what we did, balance our budgets, cut taxes, do not burden small business people, and just let the people of this state and this country do what they do, which is pursue their dreams, pursue free enterprise, and create jobs in their towns. Yep. And so that's what we're pursuing in this campaign. To operate the federal government a little bit more like you've seen Republican governors operate their state governments around the country in a fiscally responsible manner. That's the message we're carrying, door to door. We're also asking you to help us out friend to friend. On your tables today is a postcard. If you have it, I'll hold it up. This is our Women for MIT postcard. Our Women for MIT coalition is one of our most important coalitions because you all have been knocking on doors, you all have been making calls, you all have been organizing your communities. You know your towns and places better than anyone else. And your voice and your credibility matters. And so we're asking you to transfer your credibility to an aide. So today, sometime today, while you're at this conference, we want you to fill this out and put somebody's address on there that needs to hear the message. There are people in this state who are undecided or who don't quite yet know what to do, and everybody in here knows somebody like this. In fact, some polling came out on Sunday that said 43% of Americans were certain to vote for Romney, 42% were certain to vote for Obama, and everybody else was undecided or leaning but not yet certain. And after the debate Wednesday night, that pool is even bigger. And so your voice and your outreach and your credibility transferring to someone else in your town makes a big difference. So please fill out your Women for MIT postcard today and send it to one person that you think you can make a difference with. On top of that, I want to tell you that for the last 30 days, we need everybody on the street. We need everybody we can get. These doors and these phones, they don't knock themselves, and then the phones don't ring themselves. It takes manpower, and you all have been participating in it, but we need new people. An hour of time can yield 40 door knocks. An hour of time can yield as many as 150 phone calls. 1 hour of time can make a difference in an election like what we have going on here in the state of Ohio. Yesterday, some polling was released. One poll had it -1, and one poll had it +1. And I have firmly believed that in this state, there are plenty enough people who disapprove of Barack Obama for us to win this election. We just have to go tell them why Mitt Romney is a better choice, and that's what we're doing. That's what the ground game is for. So in a race that's +1 or -1, dead even, dead heat, he who knocks on the most doors, or in our case, she who knocks on the most doors, will win this election. We had a story in the Washington Post the other day that was analyzing the ground game of the campaigns in Ohio. And we had reported at the time, in the previous 7-day period, we had knocked on 137,000 doors. And the Ohio Democratic Party chairman said, I find it hard to believe anybody can knock on that many doors. And then the next week we knocked on 168,000. And this week we're going to knock on 250,000. They are going to be stunned. They are going to be stunned at what Mitt Romney and Paul Ryan and the Republican Victory Team has accomplished. But they'll only be stunned if you participate. So thank you all for what you have done. Thank you very much for getting out there for the next 4 weeks. We've got to have the manpower. We've got to have the manpower. Before I introduce the board of directors, I want to point out a couple of our great staff members that are here. We have a lot of great young women who work on our campaign. Some are here this morning. Michelle Clark is our senior staff member. As well. Rachel Williams, some of you know in the back. Rachel's from Eastern Ohio. I went to a meeting the other day, took Rachel, and they said, why is Rachel here? And I said, she's my advisor on guns. She's the most heavily armed member of our company. We have some other staff here. I encourage you to meet the staff. If you need to talk to somebody about how to get involved in the campaign, you can do that here. Mike Byrne is our EDO guy. So if you see my emails about the poll observers, we're trying to get people to do stuff on election day. You can talk to Mike a believer in the liberties of our citizens. She is a believer in getting the government off the backs of people who are trying to create jobs. She has a plan to cut wasteful spending and to cut taxes to protect our Second Amendment rights. She is a wife, she is a mother of 3, and she will be the next congressman from Utah's 4th Congressional District.
Utah and all of our voices in support of Mitt Romney. And I think that message resonated a little bit. I was so excited. There were a couple of people that said, oh my gosh, were you nervous at all? And it's funny, I guess you should be, right? But you know, I felt like there was a message that I needed to get out, and I needed to try and get this out to as many people as possible about the American dream and about the America I know. My parents immigrated to the United States illegally. They came with $10 in their pocket. And they had this idea, they heard about this America that had all of these opportunities. And they came in the hopes that the America that they heard about really did exist. My parents worked hard for everything they had. They scrubbed toilets. My mom was a housekeeper. My dad worked in manufacturing. My parents, through example, taught me that I wasn't entitled to anything I didn't own, earn, work for, or pay for myself. They told me that I was not going to be a burden to society, that I was going to give back to society that has given us so much opportunity. Let me tell you the opportunity that they were talking about. It wasn't about a paycheck. It's about looking to Washington when times got hard. It's about looking within. It's about the opportunity of working, keeping a little bit of what you've earned, being able to educate your children, and so that your children will have a life that is better than the one that you inherited. That's what the American dream is about. The American dream is not one idea. It's whatever your idea is. If it's a home, if it's work, if it's health, whatever it is, that's your idea. And this is the only place where you can come and have $10 and make that happen. This is the only place where you're not predestined to be poor, no matter what some will believe. We are not predestined to be poor here. We can grow up. We can invest our time and our efforts in something and make a life for ourselves. That's what I love about this country. Ordinary citizens every day, me, like you, like my parents, have the opportunity to do extraordinary things. That's what makes this country great. The America that we know, our America, is grounded in the determination found in patriots, people who love this country, and pioneers. It's found in our small business owners. It's found in the farmers who work in the beauty of our landscapes and the artists who do them. It's found in our heroic military, and I'm here to tell you that we owe them a great deal of respect and gratitude for the sacrifices that they make every day. We will keep our promises to our soldiers when they come home, and we will keep our promises to their families when they don't. But importantly, it's found in our children who look at the seemingly impossible and dare to say, I can do that. That's the America I know, because I'm telling you, I've seen countries where children would never dare to say I can do that, where they have no prospects, where they know that their future is not going to be better than the ones that they're living in or the parents are living in. That's the America I know. That's the country I know. I have to tell you, as mayor, we are faced with many difficult decisions. In 2008, the housing market crashed, and we were faced with quite a bit of a deficit, a shortfall. And we rolled up our sleeves. We cut spending. It was difficult. There were many people who wanted my head on the plate. I'll tell you. You wouldn't believe how many people were trying to hold on to things like baby contests. Baby contests. I know it sounds ridiculous, but I'm telling you, it's not too far off from Washington and the things that we're paying for. But you wouldn't believe they would hold, really. And I said, just follow me. I promise you we will be better off than we are today. And we cut 67% at the top levels, 30% at the bottom levels, and today we have the highest bond rating available to us. Our city's on firm financial standing. Our property tax pays for nothing but public safety, because I understand it in real life. And you see, I have to ask myself 3 questions, and it's very simple. It's not rocket science. I know it may look genius, but it isn't. I ask myself 3 questions. Is it affordable? Is it sustainable? Is it my job? In other words, is it my proper role? And if Washington would ask itself that same question, trust me, we would all be here probably having more work, less debt, just happy and looking at prospects and talking about what our children are going to do when they grow up. But that's not the situation that we're in today. Also, as mayor, you know that my job is never over. I got a phone call a couple of weeks ago where the manager called me and said, Mayor, you know how you just dealt with a fire? I don't know if anybody knew about this, probably not, but we dealt with a 6,000-acre fire. And we were able to save quite a few homes, and all of our homes actually, but it was a lot of work. He says, well, you know how you just dealt with the fire? Now we're going to have to deal with the flood. Because all of the vegetation was burned off, and we ended up getting a lot of rain, and the floods came down. And I'll tell you, when I got up there, what I saw was absolutely devastating. Soot, mud, debris, I mean, the stuff that you could grab in your hands and hold and it would make a ball. It was absolutely awful. It took out several homes. It took some cars and sent it down the hill. We had boulders, just boulders that were in people's basements. It was absolutely awful. Now, at times like this, many of us can just put our heads in the sand and say, nothing we can do about it. A lot of us will say, who's going to come and help me? Have somebody come and help. Call everyone you know. Federal government needs to come and help us. Yes? No. See, here's what happens. We have 2 choices. We can either make excuses or we can make progress. But you cannot do both. I want you to know, 5,000 people showed up the next day. 5,000 on a Labor Day weekend showed up with their blue to bail people out that they didn't even know. Gave up their weekends. A federal mandate didn't do that. That was free choice that did that. That's who we are. We as Americans help each other out. That's our history. Do I believe as a conservative that we should care for those who cannot care for themselves? Absolutely. Yes. Do I believe that if we can end our neighbor's suffering, if we have the resources to do it, should we do it? Yes, I do. But the day that we decide that federal government has to force us to do that, we have declined as a society. That's when we become less American. That is not the country I want. I want to talk about a little bit about this war on women, since we're in this nice group. I think it's really, how many of you here believe that you're so weak that you need federal government to take care of everything for you? I didn't think so. It's funny, I was listening to the story about Rachel over here. I was listening to the story about Rachel over here, that you said was well armed. I have a little bit of a story of how non-we are. I walked into a Sprint store to get a new iPhone, and this was, a couple of months ago, and there was this guy in Utah. He was open carry, so he just had a handgun. And I start looking at it, and I look over to the side, and I'm just looking at it, and he kind of, puffed up his chest a little bit, obviously making a statement. He's like, does this make you uncomfortable? And I was like, no. He's like, well, you're kind of staring at the firearm. And I'm like, well, I was just looking at what kind it was. I was like, is that a Glock? And he's just like, yes. I was like, 26, 9mm? And he said, yes. And I said, great gun for a woman. That's exactly what I carry. I will tell you this. I want you to know, you want to know what the war is? The war is on our business. And I can also tell you this. Women have suffered more under this presidency than any other presidency. We went, 5.7 million women are out of work. We went from 7% to 7.8% unemployment. I don't need anyone buying contraceptives for me. I want to be able to buy it myself. I want to be able to do what makes the difference for my family. What women need, we need the opportunity to make decisions for ourselves. We need the opportunity to educate our children and not have somebody in Washington do it for us. We need the opportunity to go to work and have a little bit of decision making in our home. That's what we need. You want to make women stronger? Give us the opportunity to make decisions for ourselves. That's what makes women stronger. Because I'm telling you, the more independent we are in government, the bigger Washington is, the smaller we are. I don't want to be small. And I want you to know that that's why I am here. That's why we are here. We are here. I am here. First and foremost, as a wife, a mother, a concerned citizen. We understand that hope and change doesn't lie with Washington. It lies with us. That's why we are here. We are here because I deserve a president that sees me as an individual. We deserve a president that sees us all equally as Americans. This current president, I said this at convention, and it's continuing to happen, is trying to divide us as Americans based on income level, race, social status, personal choices that we make. They are here to separate us based on those things. I want him to know that Utah's awake, Ohio's awake, and we are not buying his garbage in 2012. For the first time, we have two very clear decisions. Two very clear directions. One, more government dependency, more handcuffs, more handouts. Everything starts and ends with federal government. During the debate, you listen to the long list of the proper role of government. What President Obama believes that his role is, and how Congress gets in the way, how our Constitution gets in his way. Okay? Dividing Americans. Everything they do is divisive, and we are weaker as a country. Or we have a president that promotes energy independence, promotes individual liberty, promotes affordable education and skills training, promotes trade that works for our country, champions small businesses, and, by the way, is going to bring down our national debt so our children aren't left with a legacy of debt. So for the first time, I'm pleading with you. Ronald Reagan said that we are one generation away from losing our freedom. I dare to tell you that we are one election away from losing our freedom. I am here giving every ounce of my free time to work and help Mitt Romney get elected. Because Mitt Romney promotes the American idea that we have. Mitt Romney doesn't think we need a new makeover. Mitt Romney believes that the America we know and love is strong and we need to go back to that. Mitt Romney understands that the thing that makes this country great is freedom. Now again, President Obama will tell you it's hope. It's hope that makes this country great. You know, more tax, more regulation. Hope is what's going to carry you through when the road is long. I heard him talk about this during his speech at his convention. Hope that everything's going to work out, and that's what was going to carry you through. Not once did he mention freedom. When we know that freedom is what caused 5,000 people to show up. Freedom is what allows Americans to give more than any other country ever gives. Freedom is what allows our entrepreneurs and innovators to invest their time and their effort and their money into an idea that just might work. And when a man or a woman puts on that uniform and goes out and sacrifices their lives, when parents see their children go to a foreign land, what are they trying to preserve? It's freedom. Because they know, we know that there is no hope without freedom. We can't sit on the sidelines. We have got to get up and we've got to work harder than we've ever worked before. And I'm telling you, Ohio is a battleground. That's why I'm here. Because I'm willing to go to the toughest spots and get people fired up to save this country that we know and love. Our country has been told, our story has been told for over 200 years by the bravery of the greatest generation. This is the country we know and love because each and every one of us, our ancestors, built this country throughout history, and it's worth saving. With America's comeback team, we will get this country back on its feet. We will preserve opportunities for our children. We will be able to make sure that we reform programs, that we have them, and get rid of some that do absolutely nothing for us. And we'll get our country back. That's why I'm here. And I want you to know, it's the last thing I'm going to say. On November 6th, after we get the results, how many of us are going to sit up and say, you know, I could have knocked on one more door. I could have made one more phone call, or maybe donated just a little bit more. How close is this race going to be? How many of us will say that? Or how many of us will sit and say, I have given everything I possibly could give. I have knocked on doors as much as I possibly could. I have made phone calls, and I, as a parent, did everything I could, or a grandparent, did everything I could to save this country for our children, our grandchildren. How many of us? This group of women that I met and the group of people that are here, we are in it for the fight. We are in it to win it, and I believe that we do have the greatest country on earth because of you. Because of you. Thank you so much. Work hard. I'm willing to stand up. Who's willing to stand up with me for Mitt Romney? States of America, thank you all so much.
I don't think we'll ever be able to top that. Me, on behalf of the Ohio Federation of Republican Women and everyone here today, and on behalf of the victory we're going to be celebrating on the 7th of November. Yeah. Morning. Her husband's here with her. Jason, would you stand up? She has had the pleasure of having two OFRW members as drivers. Yesterday was Elaine Kent from Licking County, and today is Gail Snyder from Dark County.
We're going to take a break for a little bit here. Make sure you visit the auction table. Marilyn has something. Oh, hold on. That's all right.
Okay, ladies, thank you very much. The silent auction tables that are all over the room, we have beautiful things. Please don't let any item go unbid on. It's a lot of effort and love that goes into doing those, and we need to appreciate it. Be sure that you raise the bids with a minimum specified on the sheet, $5 or $10, no $1 or $2 raises. The silent auction will close at 12:15, so you need to have the silent bids in by then. Winners are going to be announced around 2:10 this afternoon. Payments, cash, or check only, accepted before or after the final of the speaker. Please do not be disrespectful to speakers. And please do not come to us while we're trying to tally the results and say you have to leave early. That just makes it stretch out longer. We'll announce everything from the podium at 2:10. You'll pay first at the registration table and claim your item from the table. Leave the numbers on the table. This is all there. Opportunity drawings. I have wonderful sellers that are dropped out. Jean Bolton and what is Cheryl Robertson. And I have Becky Sampson back there. Please, you've all been supporting them. Please continue to do it. The money is all for the good cause of our organization. Anyhow, that's about it for me. The chances are 6 tickets for $5 and 1 tickets for $1. So anyhow, watch out for all the ladies. Please spend some. Thank you.
At this time, we're going to have a brief break, and we're going to ask, please, if you're seated in the chairs, that is the end of the Romney part of the program. So we will be needing those chairs later. So, and we thank you very much for coming to join us, and everybody have a
OFRW.com. And Lynn is going to have those new minutes, or those new bylaws on the website. And instead of asking your president to run them off for you, you please run them off yourself. If you don't have email or you don't have a computer, then please ask your president to do it, or the president ask your members. And you run those bylaws off and read them real good, because I think some of them we're not familiar with those OFRW bylaws. And this should help, and then we hope it does. And did you say something? I can't hear you. Oh, that's when this says we can't hear you. We'll stop talking. We can't. Just the podium should talk at this time. Okay, agreed. Let's see. The other thing I have for this meeting. I would like Edwina and every of your girls that are here from your clubs come forward, please. Edwina's club is celebrating their 75th anniversary all year. So let's have a round of applause for the Warren County Republican Women's Club. Oh, it added Trumbull County. We've got on here the Warren Republican Women's Club, but it's Trumbull County. You don't want to mix up, like I'm from Sandusky County, and they get me mixed up with Sandusky, Ohio, but I'm from near Fremont, Ohio. So that's how we get those things up. So this time, the 75th anniversary. This certificate is awarded to Warren Republican Women's Club in recognition of valuable contributions to the Republican Party the Ohio Federation of Republican Women, Trumbull County, and its community during those 75 years. Congratulations.